This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
And welcome to the GSMC Sports Podcast. This episode is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. And as always, I'm your host, Jesse Tapia. And for today's show, we're going to be talking about the NBA games in the first segment from yesterday. All right, we're going to be doing that. We're going to be talking about, for the second and third segment, we'll be talking about teams who haven't won Super Bowls and how close they are to getting to that achievement. And then for the fourth segment, we'll be talking about anything else going on in the world of sports. Shaun White won another gold medal, so give my thoughts on that. All right, and let's see what else we're going to talk about. Maybe, I don't know, we'll talk about pretty much anything else that comes to mind in the fourth segment. So let's just get into it right now. All right, so first off, we had the Miami Heat facing off with the Toronto Raptors. This game was in Toronto, and the Heat lost this one, or actually I should say Toronto won this one, 115-112. For Miami, you had Josh Richardson with not the best shooting game from him, only 10 points, 3 of 9 shooting, had 5 assists, 3 rebounds. Justice Winslow got the start on this one, 5 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Hassan Whiteside had 10 points, 10 rebounds. And then you had Goran Dragic with 28 points, 4 assists, shot 10 of 19, 3 of 5 from the three-point line. Off the bench, you had Dwayne Wade shooting 4 of 9 from the field, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, scored 10 points. Bam Adebayo had 11 points, 5 rebounds. Let's see, James Johnson, he had 16 points, 7 rebounds, 7 of 11 shooting. And off the bench also, you had Wayne Ellington with 15 points, 7 rebounds, 5 of 11 shooting, and all those came from the three-point line. As for the Toronto Raptors, you had Serge Ibaka with 14 points, 10 rebounds, shot 5 of 7. Jonas Valanciunas played 30 minutes, only took 4 shots though. All right, 6 points, 10 rebounds. Kyle Lowry had 22 points, 8 assists, 4 rebounds, shot 8 of 17. And then you had DeMar DeRozan with 27 points, 4 assists, 11 of 25 shooting, and 1 of 7 from the three-point line. So, I mean, pretty good game from the Heat here. Had a lot of bench production, just couldn't pull it out against the Raptors. And I don't know, like this Heat team is a bit weird to me because like I'm not sure what direction they're trying to head in. All right, because they're a lower seed team right now, and they're, like I said, they're a lower seed team, and they can't compete with teams like the Cavs or Celtics right now as far as playoffs go. They won't be competing like a team with the Raptors. I mean, maybe they'd be able to pull off a couple of games there, but I mean, it's like what I'm trying to get to is that the Heat are a fringe playoff team right now. How do they get better? All right, as the off seasons go. Are they going to go be a team that tries to lower in free agents, tries to sign guys like that? Because I mean, they really haven't since they got Chris Bosh and LeBron James. And I mean, other than that, I mean, they're too good right now to be in the lottery, and they're not good enough to be competing with the top 4. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all ends up for them. But yeah, just a little observation right there. I mean, like the Heat, they're 30-27. But I feel like they're going to be one of those teams that are stuck for a few seasons because they're good enough to be a playoff team, but not good enough to pretty much get out of the first round. And as for the Raptors, I mean, it's business as usual. I mean, this team keeps winning. Not too much respect going their way, but nonetheless, I mean, they just got to go out, play their game, and then eventually they're going to start getting it because now they're up a game on the Celtics. Was a half a game, but like I said, now they're up a game. And, I mean, Toronto's looking good. You still got Cleveland to worry about, but nonetheless, it's going to be interesting to see how it all ends up for Toronto. I mean, like I said, just the poor team just does not get respect whatsoever. And, I mean, if we're being real here, I mean, do we really think Toronto could even make it to the conference championship in the East? Honestly, possibly could. I mean, if Toronto ends up as the number 1 seed when the season ends, then I do like their chances getting to the Eastern Conference Finals because you're going to have Boston or Cleveland knocking each other out in the Eastern semis, and that'd be kind of a fun series there. Probably happen a little bit too early. We'd rather see that in the Eastern Conference Finals, but nonetheless, I mean, I don't know, Toronto's only chance of making it to the East Finals, I think, is if they finish first. All right. Other than that, I think they'll get bounced in the Eastern semis, whether it be against Boston or Cleveland. So we'll see how it all ends up for Toronto. Again, no respect for them, but I guess you got to earn it since you keep getting bounced out in the playoffs early. Pretty much, I'd say they're like the Clippers of the East. All right. As for the next game, we had the Atlanta Hawks facing off with the Milwaukee Bucks, and Milwaukee won this one 97-92. You had Aaron Ilyasova with 15 points, 7 rebounds, shot 5 of 15, 1 of 7 from the 3-point line. All right. Taurean Prince with 11 points, 4 of 12 shooting, 1 of 5 from the 3-point line. Dwayne Dedmon with 13 points, 10 rebounds. You had Dennis Schroeder with 18 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. He shot 8 of 16, and then you had Kent Bazemore with 17 points, 4 assists, 5 rebounds, shot 6 of 15, 4 of 7 from the 3-point line. As for those Bucks, you had Giannis Antetokounmpo, not the best game from him, only 15 points in this one. Did have 15 rebounds though, shot 7 of 16, 0 of 4 from the 3-point line. Chris Middleton, he had 21 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 7 of 15. Don Maker got the start in this one, 12 points, 3 rebounds, shot 5 of 7, 1 of 2 from the 3-point line. Eric Bledsoe, not the greatest shooting game from him, only 14 points, 9 assists, shot 5 of 14, 2 of 6 from the 3-point line. You had Tony Snell with the start in this one. He had 6 points, 3 rebounds. And then Jabari Parker's been back. He had 7 points, 3 rebounds, 2 of 8 shooting, and played 18 minutes in this one. The Bucks are the ultimate wild card team here, all right? Very young team. Got a lot of young potential superstars, but just that's it. They're just too young right now. They haven't put it together yet. All right, everyone's talking about like in the future, like next few years or whatever, it's going to be the Bucks that are taking over the East after the Cavs are done. All right, and you still got teams like the Celtics, you still got teams like the Sixers, but yeah, I'd agree that you know what, the Bucks are one of those teams that are going to be up there because right now they're the 4th seed, 32-24, been playing extremely well since they got rid of Jason Kidd, and even with guys like Malcolm Brogdon out. I can't remember who else got hurt from their team. I think I'm missing one more other person, but either way, yeah, with Brogdon out, they've been playing extremely well. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Bucks the next few years. All right, I don't think they're going to do too much in the playoffs this year. Maybe they'd be facing off with the Wizards. I think they could pull off a first round win against the Wizards, but after that, I mean, you got to face a team like Toronto, Boston, and Cleveland. That's going to be tough, just especially because those teams have been in the playoffs year after year. So we'll see how it all ends up for them, but I do think that they are going to be one of the best teams in the East in the near future, maybe even next year. So we'll see how, just like I said, how it all ends up. As for the Houston Rockets, they faced off with the Minnesota Timberwolves in Minnesota. Not really sure why I ended up going with Minnesota yesterday when I was making my picks. I mean, Houston won this one easily, 126-108. All right, you had PJ Tucker who got the start in this one instead of Ryan Anderson. He had 10 points. Clint Capella had 14 points, 12 rebounds, shot 5 of 7. Chris Paul, he had 13 points, 7 assists, 8 rebounds, 5 of 11 shooting, 1 of 5 from the 3-point line. James Harden with 34 points, 13 assists, 6 rebounds, shot 10 of 20, 6 of 10 from the 3-point line. And then off the bench, Ryan Anderson, he had 21 points, 4 rebounds, 7 of 12 shooting, 6 of 10 from the 3-point line. Let's see, you had Eric Gordon with 13 points, shot 3 of 10, not the best night from him. And then Gerald Green only played 18 minutes in this one, shot 2 of 6. All those came from the 3-point line and had 6 points. As for the Minnesota Timberwolves, you had Taj Gibson with 12 points, 5 rebounds, shot 5 of 8. Andrew Wiggins with a terrible shooting night, only 2 out of his 14 shots, had 7 points, 3 rebounds. Karl Anthony Towns with 35 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, fouled out, but shot 12 of 16, 2 of 3 from the 3-point line in that one. Jeff Teague with a good game here, 25 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds, shot 10 of 15, 2 of 3 from the 3-point line. And then Jimmy Butler had 15 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and he shot 5 of 13 and 0 of 3 from the 3-point line. The Timberwolves just aren't ready yet. All right, they're not ready to compete with teams like the Rockets or Warriors. Maybe eventually they will be, but nonetheless, right now I don't know. I feel like we've been waiting for the Timberwolves to finally take that next step, and for some reason they just haven't been able to. And I'm not sure when they are. All right, this was probably, I don't know if I should say this was supposed to be the year they were going to, because they got a guy like Jimmy Butler, but nonetheless, you got a coach like Tom Thibodeau. You got Jimmy Butler. You got Karl Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins, who I don't know. Andrew Wiggins is a bit of a weird player. He's like a better version of Marcus Smart. Right, dude can't really shoot, but he does everything else pretty well, I would say. Okay, so I mean, it's really just a matter of when is it going to happen, or I don't know, maybe it is. It's just an if it is going to happen. I mean, because like I said, this Timberwolves team for some reason just can't really show up when they're playing the good teams in the league, all right? And I mean, when it comes to playoffs, let me see what their seeding is right now. They're currently the 4th seed. They'll be facing off with a team like Oklahoma City. I've been pretty down on Oklahoma City for most of the year, but you know what? They've been playing extremely well. So if I had to say right now between Oklahoma City and Minnesota in a first-round matchup, I'd have to say Oklahoma City wins that matchup, all right? Because, I mean, right now they're playing the better basketball, and Oklahoma City has proven that they could play against the top teams right now. I mean, earlier in the year they couldn't, obviously, but now, I mean, we'll talk about their game against the Cavs, which they lost. But other than that, they've been playing pretty well against the top teams. So Minnesota really needs to pick it up, or maybe Derrick Rose is going to be the savior. But nonetheless, they really got to figure it out. And speaking of Oklahoma City, they faced off with the Cavs yesterday, and the new look Cavs won this one also, 120-112. You had LeBron James with 37 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, shot 14 of 23, 3-7 from the 3-point line. And let's see, what else do we have? We had Cedi Osman, 5 points in his third start. Tristan Thompson, 23 minutes, only took 2 shots. Wade, one of them, 2 points, 5 rebounds. George Hill, he had 7 points, 4 assists, shot 3-7. J.R. Smith has been playing well ever since after the trade deadline. He had 18 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 6-10, 6-9 from the 3-point line. Off the bench, we had Larry Nance with 13 points, 9 rebounds, 5-10 shooting. Jordan Clarkson with 14 points, 6-10 from the field. And you had Rodney Hood also with 14 points, 5-10 shooting from the field, 4 of 8 from the 3-point line. This new Cavs team is playing extremely well. I think the biggest reason why is that they all have roles that they fit into, right? You don't got guys like Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder, who need the ball a little bit more just to get involved. All right, you got guys that know just to be quiet and pretty much do your job out there. So that's what's been working well with the Cavs. As for the Thunder, you had Carmelo Anthony with 24 points, 7 rebounds, shot 10 of 22, 3 of 9 from the 3-point line. Paul George, he had 25 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds, 8 of 19 shooting, 5 of 13 from the 3-point line. Steven Adams, he had 22 points, 17 rebounds, 8 of 12 from the field. Russell Westbrook, he had 21 points, 12 assists, 7 rebounds, 7 of 19 shooting in that one. And then off the bench, you had Jeremy Grant with 14 points, 6 rebounds. He shot 5 of 9. The only thing that really scares me with the Cavs is that they still have no rebounding, okay? Tristan Thompson just for some reason does not like to jump up and get rebounds. And you got a guy like Larry Nance who had 9 rebounds yesterday. Maybe that's going to help fix the problem. But nonetheless, when you're going down the stretch and your starting 5 is out there, you're going to need someone who can consistently get boards. All right, you're going to tell me Larry Nance is going to be the guy that consistently gets you the big rebounds that you need to pull out wins? Because rebounds, obviously, if you pay attention to every team that wins, most of the time they're going to have more rebounds than the other. All right, it's a big factor. And like I said, I'm not sure if I trust Larry Nance enough to do that consistently for the Cavs. So I think they got to maybe pick up someone off the street or something, at least something to help fix that rebounding problem, because Tristan Thompson just isn't what he was before right now. All right, I'm not saying that Tristan Thompson can't get back to that, but as of right now, he's just not playing well. As for the Thunder, you got to play defense in this game. You can't be giving up 120 points and expect to have a good chance to win. All right, they did put up 112, did shoot well, but like I said, just got to do better on the defensive end. All right, and as far as the Thunder said, like I said, I know that they lost to the Cavs and all that, but I still think that they're a better team than Minnesota. And you know what? I think as of right now, they might even be a better team than San Antonio. Of course, I'm talking about the San Antonio team minus Kawhi Leonard, all right? But, let's say it just doesn't work out, Kawhi doesn't really come back this season, then Oklahoma City could knock them off in the playoffs too, but I just really don't see Kawhi not returning, so I guess that's all just wishful thinking, I guess. And I'm not saying I hope that Kawhi stays out, but I hope you guys get what I'm saying. As for the next game, we have the Sacramento Kings facing off with the Dallas Mavericks. The Kings won this one 114-109. You had Zach Randolph with 22 points, 7 rebounds, 10 of 15 shooting, 2 of 3 from the 3-point line. Let's see, you had Bogdan Bogdanovic with 19 points, 4 assists, 5 rebounds, shot 8 of 17, 3 of 7 from the 3-point line. De'Aaron Fox, he had 11 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, shot 5 of 12. And Willie Cauley-Stein had 10 points, 4 rebounds. Off the bench, you had, Garrett Temple with 13 points, shot 4 of 7, hit 2 out of his 3 threes. Buddy Hield had 8 points. 3 of 8 shooting. Vince Carter, I believe Vince Carter did have a dunk in this one, right? The old man did dunk the ball. And I don't think that we should really get all excited about Vince Carter dunking the ball anymore, because, the dude is still crazy athletic, and I get he's 41 and all that, but he does this. It's not rare anymore, I don't think, at least. All right, and then you had Costa Koufos with 11.7 rebounds, shot 5 of 5 in that one off the bench. So a nice little game from the Kings there. As for the Dallas Mavericks, you had Dirk Nowitzki with 12 points, 6 rebounds, 4 of 10 shooting, 1 of 4 from the 3-point line. Harrison Barnes had 18 points, 5 rebounds, shot 6 of 14, 3 of 8 from the 3-point line. Dennis Smith Jr. with 17 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 6 of 15. Off the bench, you had Dwight Powell with 18 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, shot 6 of 9, and 1 of 1 from the 3-point line. All right, and the Kings have been playing well ever since they traded away George Hill. I'm not saying George Hill was holding the back or anything like that, but nonetheless, you got De'Aaron Fox out there starting to take the starting minutes, and he's starting to play well. I like the way this Kings team is going. For most of the season, they look pretty lost and kind of directionless, but it's looking like the youth is starting to take over and play well. So, they're going to have a top 3 pick probably in the draft. So, you got to get that franchise-changing player in this draft, because if not, then it's going to be the same thing. You got to get that one player that changes the franchise. All right, so we'll see if they can do that. That's all right. For the final game of the night, we had the San Antonio Spurs facing off with the Denver Nuggets, and the Nuggets won this one 117-109. All right, for the Spurs, no LaMarcus Aldridge in this one. You had Pau Gasol with 10 points, 7 rebounds. You had Bertrand with 12 points, 4 rebounds, shot 4 of 9. Dejounte Murray with 12 points, 6 rebounds, shot 6 of 10. Off the bench, you had Joffrey Lauvergne. No idea who Joffrey Lauvergne was, all right? Still don't have any idea. I just found this out today. He had 26 points, 11 rebounds, shot 12 of 15 in 24 minutes. No clue who Joffrey Lauvergne is, all right? Joffrey, I just don't like that name because I've been watching Game of Thrones, and Joffrey's probably one of the worst characters in there. And yeah, I know. Actually, I don't know. There's people still binge watch, so I'm not going to talk about it. But nonetheless, Joffrey Lauvergne had 26 points. Great game from him. All right, then you had Tony Parker with 17 points, 4 assists, shot 7 of 11. And then let's see, anyone else do anything notable? Not really. You had Patty Mills with 8 points, but didn't really shoot too well. 3 of 8 from the field. All right, as for the Denver Nuggets, you had Wilson Chandler with 17 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, shot 8 of 19, 0 of 5 from the three-point line. Nikolai Jokic with 23 points, 13 rebounds, 11 assists, 18 of 15 shooting, 2 of 5 from the three-point line. Another triple-double for the guy there. One of the more underrated centers in the league. His only downside to his game is that he can't really play too good of a defense on that side of the ball. So if he fixes that up, then he'll be one of the best centers in the league by far. Then you had Jamal Murray with 17 points, 6 of 9 shooting, 3 of 6 from the three-point line, 5 rebounds. Will Barton had 20 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, shot 9 of 19. And you had Gary Harris with 15 points, 3 assists, shot 7 of 17, and 1 of 3 from the three-point line. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this segment. Next up, we're going to be talking about teams who haven't won the Super Bowl. All right, might split it up. There's 12 teams who haven't, so we might do 6 in the next segment and then 6 in the third. We're not really sure yet. Gonna see how it goes, see how it feels. But nonetheless, we're going to be talking about those teams going forward. Pretty much talk about how close they are and what they need to do to get to the Super Bowl in order to win it. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines. They got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Alright, and welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. For this segment, I know I said we were probably going to split up the teams, talk about teams who haven't been in the Super Bowl, do 6 in this segment and 6 in the next, but I changed my mind. We're going to do all 12 in this segment, talk about them, talk about their chances to win one, or how close they are. And then we're going to be talking about the Champions League in the third segment because there's some excitement going on right now. Right now, Madrid and PSG are playing, and then you got Liverpool beating down on FC Porto right now. All right. Real time, I know that the game's going to be over by the time this podcast drops and all that, but right now Madrid's up 3-1, just scored another one, scored 2 goals in like the last 4 minutes against PSG with the last, and like from the 82nd minute and like the 85th minute they just scored. All right, so we're going to be talking about that game. It should be done by the time I start the third segment, so we'll be talking about Champions League, even talk about the teams from that played yesterday, talk about the teams that are going to play next week, pretty much just do a little Champions League segment, all right, so that's what we'll be doing. So let's talk about the teams who haven't won a Super Bowl yet. All right, I'm going to list them off, then we'll talk about each of them. All right, you got the Jaguars, the Browns, the Panthers, the Bills, Detroit, Houston, Atlanta, Cincinnati, Arizona, LA is in the Chargers, the Vikings, and the Titans. All right, all 12 of those teams have yet to win a Super Bowl. I think the Browns are the team that's been around the longest that haven't won a Super Bowl. Yeah, they won NFC championships and all that, but have not won a Super Bowl. All right, I think the youngest team in this here is the Houston Texans. All right, so I mean they still have time, but you know it's looking like their chances might be going up pretty high if this Deshaun Watson guy ends up coming back from his ACL injury and pretty much playing well. All right, so we're gonna go through each team, talk about them, talk about what they need to do, and how close they are to possibly getting to the Super Bowl and winning it. So let's start off with the first team I listed, the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jacksonville Jaguars aren't too far off. Okay, made it to the AFC Championship this year, lost to the Patriots in a close one, 24-20, a game that the Patriots probably should have won. All right, we're up 14-3 at one point, then we're up 20-10 at another point, and what Jacksonville did in the second half that killed them in that game was just the fact that, they played scared. They played not to lose. You got to play to win against the New England Patriots. That's exactly what Philly did. All right, Philly in the Super Bowl played to win against the Patriots, never took their foot off the gas, and pretty much didn't play scared. All right, if Jacksonville does that, then you know what? Who knows? Maybe they come away with the win there, but nonetheless, they didn't. All right, and as far as what Jacksonville needs to do to get pretty much to the Super Bowl and win it is, just pretty much fix up the quarterback position. I know that they're going to be, and you know what? Let me say this about Blake Bortles, okay? Blake Bortles showed that what kind of quarterback he could be, but it's been 4 years. The guy just hasn't done it consistently at all. All right, he hasn't done it consistently ever. All right, it's been 4 years. I feel like after 3, you should know what you have in a quarterback if you're playing him since his rookie year. So I'm kind of like not optimistic, but kind of like on the fence about what Jacksonville can do, just because of the fact that I'm not sure if Blake Bortles is the guy to help get him over the top. Obviously, you don't need the best quarterback in the league to win a Super Bowl. All right, Philly showed us that, but Nick Foles played out of his mind, so I'm not even sure if we could talk about that. But nonetheless, you got guys like Case Keenum and all that making it to the NFC Championship, and I just don't think that Blake Bortles is the guy that could be, average or above average enough to where he doesn't limit the team. All right, maybe I'm just too down on him, and maybe he did get a whole lot better this season, but I think that they're just a solid quarterback away from winning a Super Bowl. So they got to, who knows, maybe, like I said, Blake Bortles takes the next step and plays well consistently next season. You know what? If he does, then they got all the chance in the world to win one. So, it's pretty much just good quarterback plays what's holding them back. So, they're got one of the best chances at all these 12 teams to win a Super Bowl next. Then you got the Cleveland Browns. Just finished 0-16. And poor Cleveland. All right. I hope that this 0-16 season was the final chapter of the Cleveland misery book. All right. I said yesterday in the GSMC football podcast that if someone wrote a book just detailing the 19 years of misery from 1998 to now for Cleveland, I'd read that book, and it'd probably be a nice little best-selling book. All right, but as far as what Cleveland needs to do, they just pretty much need a culture change. They need to develop players still, and they finally need that franchise quarterback. Without that, they're nothing. All right, you can bring in all the players that you want, but you need just decent quarterback play at least, and they haven't had that probably ever. All right. So you got guys like Josh Gordon, you got Corey Coleman, you got David Njoku, and you're probably going to be drafting Saquon Barkley this year in the draft. Go get Kirk Cousins, or maybe even draft a guy like Josh Rosen or Sam Darnold. All right, I'm not sure what they really do at the quarterback position. If they don't get Cousins, then obviously they're going to have to draft a guy, but I'm not sure if any of these guys are going to take Cleveland over the hump. All right. And as for the next team, let me get back to Cleveland actually. As far as them winning a Super Bowl, they're still pretty far off. They just went 0-16. Cleveland's got a whole bunch of stuff they could fix. Like if I just say in the next 5 years, does Cleveland have a chance? Just saying maybe everything goes well, probably not. It's going to be a long process still for Cleveland. They got a whole lot of stuff they got to fix up. All right, next team, the Carolina Panthers. They probably have the best chance at all these teams. All right, let me tell you why. You already got your franchise quarterback. You got a team who's in the playoffs year after year. All right, you get a good secondary. You get a number one receiver. Then I could see Carolina getting there. Linebackers are getting old, but they're still playing at a top level. So it's not really far off for the Carolina Panthers to win a Super Bowl anytime soon. All right, maybe they do have a better chance than the Jaguars. And I think, they probably do. All right, because like I said, the Panthers are in the Super Bowl or in the playoffs year after year, and they're a good team. All right, so I think that maybe they have the best chance out of all these 12 teams. Then you got the Buffalo Bills, and they should just enjoy the fact that they made playoffs this year, because they're not getting back to the playoffs next year unless they find a real solid quarterback and they start building up that offense, because you can't just keep having LaShawn McCoy lead everything. You're going to need other people to do something too. Kelvin Benjamin is not a number one receiver, probably won't ever be in his NFL career. Going to build himself a nice little career being a number two, but other than that, he's just not a number one type of guy. All right. And as far as everything else goes, the defense is getting older. They're still playing well. You got Tre'Davious White, the young rookie, going to be in his second year this upcoming year, who is a nice little guy to build off of on the defensive side, but you're going to have to start bringing in younger reinforcements. But I don't see the Bills winning the Super Bowl anytime soon. Then you got the Detroit Lions, all right? this team should be a team like the Carolina Panthers, should be in the playoffs competing year after year, but for some reason just really haven't been able to put it together, right? You got a quarterback in Matt Stafford who's top 5 and has Hall of Fame numbers, believe it or not. If you've been paying attention, Matt Stafford's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league for a while. All right, the only reason why he's not regarded as is because he's not in the playoffs year after year and just doesn't have the little playoff accolades or playoff wins to really back him up. All right, and I think their biggest problem has been pretty much culture. And I think that's going to change and pretty much get better with Matt Patricia coming in, okay? I think the Lions are going to be a team who could possibly make the playoffs this year. And, I mean, the Lions, like I said, they have a good defense. They have a great quarterback. You have a good receiving corps. Yeah, you need to build up the running game a little bit more. But other than that, I mean, this team shouldn't be out like missing playoffs year after year. They should be a whole lot better than what they were. All right, the Jim Caldwell experiment didn't work, and I think the Matt Patricia one will. So, I mean, I think they're pretty close to, I don't know, maybe Detroit's going to be one of those teams that surprises us all and gets a Super Bowl in a random year, and then after that, they'll pretty much be a playoff team. But other than that, I mean, I don't know. I got to see how they do with Patricia in this first year as the head coach. All right, as for the Houston Texans, you got your franchise quarterback. It was looking like Deshaun Watson goes down in practice, tears his ACL. So now you pretty much got to hope and see that he's going to be healthy and going to be the same quarterback he was in his rookie year. Dude was playing like a top 10 quarterback. You got Richard Sherman saying that next year he was going to be a top 5 quarterback. And that's not a crazy prediction or anything like that. So, I mean, the Texans are pretty close. You already got one of the best offenses in the league when Deshaun Watson's out there. You got a really great defense. So, I mean, they're healthy Deshaun Watson away from being really close to winning the Super Bowl. So they got a good chance there. Then you got the Atlanta Falcons, the ultimate choke artists, all right? 28-3, blew that last year. They're a good offensive coordinator away from making it to the Super Bowl and winning it, all right? Steve Sarkisian was brutal this season, the way he was running that offense, all right? You had Julio Jones having a bit of an inconsistent year. Devontae Freeman really didn't get going till the last part of the year just because he wasn't really getting the ball all too much. I mean, Steve Sarkisian just needs to learn how to get out the way and just pretty much utilize all this talent on this offensive team. All right, they should be a team that's averaging around 30 points a game, but they just couldn't do it this year. Just really couldn't put it together. Their best game was against the Rams, and then after that, they put up 10 points against the Eagles. So, I mean, they got to figure out that offense. As for Cincinnati, you got Andy Dalton, who, I mean, Cincinnati the last 2 years just really, I don't know, they really fell off. Just really haven't been able to put it together. All right, they extended Marvin Lewis to a 2-year deal, and I'm not really sure why. All right, I feel like they're stuck. Cincinnati's stuck right now. All right, it looked like at one point Andy Dalton was their franchise quarterback. Looked like he was one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Last 2 years, just kind of stunk it up. You got a top probably 6'5" receiver in AJ Green. You got Joe Mixon, who developed this year and played pretty well. You got to see what he's going to do in his second year, and you got a solid number 2 in Brandon LaFell as your number 2 receiver. I'm meaning. And as far as the defense goes, the defense just needs to be more disciplined. All right, they need to be more disciplined. But as far as Cincinnati getting to a Super Bowl and winning it, I don't see it happening at all. Like, as long as Andy Dalton's the quarterback for that team, I just really don't see it at all unless somehow he gets miraculously way better and it's just everything falls their way. So, I mean, I don't like Cincinnati's chances, really. Then you got the Arizona Cardinals. I think they're too old to win a Super Bowl unless they get like a top 10 quarterback or something like that. Maybe a Kirk Cousins helps get them to the playoffs, but I don't think a Kirk Cousins helps get them to the Super Bowl. I mean, that whole window is closed unless they draft a quarterback in the first round and he's surefire franchise quarterback then they really have no shot. So, I mean, there's not really much to say about the Cardinals. Then there's the LA Chargers, the team who should have won a Super Bowl about 7-8 years ago, okay, when they had LT and Phillip Rivers in his prime. I mean, I remember people were talking, oh, when's their window going to close? When's their window going to close? Are they ever going to win one? And that window closed a few years ago. All right. This Chargers team should have had already at least the Super Bowl in the 2000s, but just really couldn't get over the hump, couldn't win when it mattered. All right, and now they still got a pretty good team. All right, they're probably the best team in the AFC West as of right now, before the draft and before free agency. So we're going to see how that all ends up to assist the other teams. But nonetheless, I mean, the Chargers do have a good team, so maybe they could surprise some people this year. But other than that, I mean, they got a couple more years before they're just a bad team because, I mean, once Phillip Rivers is gone, then they're going to be in trouble. Then you got the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings are a solid quarterback away from winning a Super Bowl, right? You already got there with Case Keenum at the in the NFC Championship. I mean, if Case Keenum doesn't blow it in that last game, then maybe they play better. But again, the defense did play poorly in that game. So I think they're just a real solid quarterback away from winning a Super Bowl. Maybe Case Keenum gets even better in his second year with the Vikings if they re-sign him, or maybe they go with Teddy Bridgewater. If they go Teddy Bridgewater, then I think it's going to set him back a bit. So I say go Case Keenum or trying to figure out a way to draft someone in the first round. So they're not far off. Then you got the Tennessee Titans, and I think the Tennessee Titans are going to kind of be like the Bengals before the Bengals got bad. A team that makes the playoffs and stuff like that, but not really one that makes a lot of noise. So I think, I don't know, Tennessee isn't far off, I guess, as far as Super Bowl contending. They got to fix up that defense and hope Marcus Mariota returns back to the quarterback he was the last couple of years before this year. So, I mean, I guess they're not completely far off. But if I had to rank all these 12 teams, I'd go with Carolina at number 1, Jacksonville at 2, then I'll go Atlanta at 3, Houston at 4, Detroit at 5, the Chargers at, or actually, I got to redo this, sorry, I forgot about the Vikings. I'll go Carolina at 1, Jacksonville at 2, Minnesota at 3, Atlanta at 4, Houston at 5, Detroit at 6, Los Angeles at 7, then the Titans at 8, the Cardinals at 9, let's see, you got the Bengals at 10, the Bills at 11, and then the Browns at 12. So that's how I'd rank it as far as teams' chances of winning the Super Bowl anytime soon. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for this segment. Next up, we're going to be talking a lot about Champions League, talk about the teams that are currently in it, and pretty much talk about each team. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
To the GSMC Sports Podcast. So far in today's show, we talked about the NBA games from last night, which was what, Tuesday? Yes, today Wednesday. Yeah, today's Wednesday. Talked about games from from yesterday, which was Tuesday. Talked about the 12 teams that haven't won a Super Bowl, how close they are to winning one, and what they need to do to win one. And now for this segment, we're going to talk some soccer. All right, some football. All right, we're going to talk Champions League. So let's talk Champions League. Today we had a couple of very interesting games to watch on today's slate. We had Porto versus Liverpool, and then we had Madrid versus PSG. The Madrid one literally ended a few minutes ago. Got to catch the last part of that game. And I was really interested in this game because of the fact that, Neymar, he's going to Madrid in the summer. All right, I firmly believe that. I think it's going to happen. It makes all the sense in the world for Neymar to go to Madrid this summer. All right. He doesn't look happy at PSG. You could tell that when he's playing. You can pretty much tell that with all the stories that they're putting out. All right, and I think that he's more following the other Ronaldo, the Brazilian Ronaldo's footsteps a bit, all right, because he played for Barcelona and then eventually played for Madrid. I'm not sure if it was Madrid then Barca or Barca then Madrid, but either way, you get what I'm saying, all right? I think that Neymar going to Madrid would be pretty much the ultimate money-making marketing opportunity, all right? Neymar goes to Madrid. Everyone's going to be watching. Everyone's going to be buying his jersey. Everyone's going to be buying tickets to watch him. Imagine the El Clasico game between them and Barca, all right? That'll be one of the highest-rated El Clasicos of all time. All right, he could be the guy that takes over for Ronaldo once he's done because Ronaldo, let's talk about the game before we talk about Neymar going to Madrid, which is going to happen, all right? So today, obviously, a good game, and Madrid ended up pulling out the win 3-1. All right, Ronaldo scored twice. He scored a penalty in the 45th minute, and he scored the go-ahead goal in the 83rd. All right, And, man, Ronaldo's always hitting penalties, I feel, more so than he scores actual goals. But nonetheless, all right, great player. So the second goal he scored was one where I think it was Lucas Vasquez going down the left wing. He crosses it in, and the goalie gets a hand on it, but hits it to the middle. You know who's right there in the middle? Ronaldo hits it off of his knee. It goes in. Boom. Goal right there, 2-1. All right. Then in the 86th minute, you got Marcelo, who hit a shot, and it went in past the goalie, which made it 3-1. So Madrid pretty much, this was a fun game too. I was watching it as I was doing the first segment, and it was just back and forth, pretty much end-to-end play. It was really fun to watch. It was a nice, fast-paced game, and it's going to be interesting to see because let me see when they play again. It's got to be in 2 weeks, I think, unless it's all different. Let me see. I'm not sure. I got to double-check it, but nonetheless, all right, Madrid played well in this one. I was actually kind of surprised because Madrid this season has been pretty disappointing, all right? Really haven't been as good as they should be, as good as they've been the last few seasons, all right? Madrid is one of those teams where no matter what, you should always be near the top. And I think currently in La Liga, they're currently like in 4th place, I think. I'd have to double-check it right now. Let me see if I can do that as I'm talking. But nonetheless, I know they're like 18, 15 points at least last time I checked behind Barcelona. So, I mean, La Liga is something that they're not going to achieve. So, I mean, them beating PSG 3-1 is a nice little confidence booster for them, right? Because, like I said, they're not winning La Liga at all. And I think they're out of the Copa del Rey, too. So, now all they have left is Champions League. They win Champions League. I mean, that saves Zidane's job and pretty much just takes the heat off him. Yeah, Madrid's currently in 4th place. They got 42 points, and they're 17 points back at Barcelona. So, they have no chance of winning that. The next closest team, which is in second, is Atletico with 52 points down, 7 from Barcelona's 59. So, yeah, Madrid has no shot at winning La Liga. So, I mean, winning a game like this pretty much takes the heat off of them a bit. Okay, because PSG with Neymar, I mean, one of the most hyped teams in the world right now. All right, and PSG with Neymar is regarded as one of the better teams in the league right now. All right, they're dominating the League One, and pretty much they've been playing well all year. So with Madrid beating PSG, you're not going to really have too many questions about Zidane's job this week or maybe the next couple of weeks because he took this little pressure off him by getting this win. I was surprised too. I thought the game was going to end in a draw before it started. I thought it was going to be a nice little even match, but no, Madrid pretty much, I don't know. What's weird about Madrid is that no matter how poorly they're playing, they can always show up in big games. All right, Ronaldo's always going to show up and score goals, whether it's a penalty or a little one that hits off the goal and hits off his knee. You can always count on him. So played well in this one. It was kind of down this year. I was thinking that maybe after this year Madrid should sell him because I still think that they should sell him. Okay, because yeah, Ronaldo's one of the best players in the world, but I just think Madrid is stuck now. It's time for change. All right, time for them to go forward. All right, because like I see, they're trying to sign guys like Harry Kane, Eden Hazard. I don't think those guys work there with Ronaldo. Obviously, I think if they bring Harry Kane or Hazard, that means they're going to get rid of Bale too. So I say just, you know what, sell Ronaldo, get rid of Bale, sign Kane, sign Hazard, and sign Neymar. Boom, that's probably the best team in the La Liga right there. Probably best team in the world too. So if they do that, it'd be fun to see. But as far as getting back to Neymar going to Madrid, I mean, I'm almost positive it's going to happen. All right, Neymar is the kind of player who pretty much wants the spotlight on him, all right? Wants to make all the money and wants to be pretty much regarded as the best in the world. He goes to Madrid. That's what he's missing right there, all right? Neymar's probably the 3rd best player in the world right now, but if he goes to Madrid, him just playing for Madrid elevates him even more. They might even put him over Ronaldo if he goes to Madrid. All right, Neymar eventually is going to be the best player in the world once Messi and Ronaldo retire, whenever that is. I mean, they're both playing at incredible levels right now. So I really want to see Neymar in Madrid just because of the fact, I mean, they're going to make so much money off of that, and that'd be just a crazy kind of transfer with Madrid getting him. So like I said, it's going to happen, but nonetheless, Madrid beat PSG 3-1 today. Then for the other game, you had FC Porto playing Liverpool, and Liverpool, I mean, just destroyed Porto 5-0. You had Mane scored a hat-trick, goals in the 25th, 53rd, and 85th minute. Mohamed Salah, probably the best player in the Premier League right now with 29 or with a goal in the 29th minute. You had Roberto Firmino with a goal in the 69th minute. So, I mean, Porto had no chance in this one. So Liverpool won this one 5-0. Liverpool, as far as their chance of winning the Champions League, I mean, they don't have a defense. All right, yeah, they kept a clean sheet against Porto, but nonetheless, I mean, it's Porto. They don't have world-class strikers or anything like that. So, I mean, you can't really win too many games. Let me see who they started in the back line today as I'm talking about it. But nonetheless, yeah, Liverpool's biggest problem the last few years is that they don't have any good defenders. All right, I'm not sure why Jurgen Klopp just refuses to buy them, but nonetheless, I mean, that's been their weakness. That's been their Achilles heel, all right? So today they started Andrew Robertson, Van Dijk, Lovren, and Alexander-Arnold. Lovren is just bad. All right, let me see who they had. They had Joel Matip come in today, and Joe Gomez played on the right, came off the bench too. So, I mean, even then, I mean, they don't really have anyone that you can bring off the bench or anyone like start for Leverett, right? So Liverpool's going to have to, if they want to keep advancing, they're going to have to put up at least like 3 goals a game in order to keep going because like I said, there's going to be, I'm not even sure if that's going to happen too because the competition just keeps getting better. You got teams like Man City who won 4-0 yesterday. Tottenham drew with Juventus 2-2. All Tottenham needs in the next game is a goal against Juventus and they're pretty much going to advance. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how it all ends up. Let me see what we got going on next week for Champions League. All right, let me see. The 20th it should be. We're going to have Bayern Munich versus Besiktas, and then Chelsea versus Barcelona. I'm kind of interested in that Chelsea and Barcelona match because you got Messi, Suarez, and all those guys going against, I think Morata is going to be back. It's going to be interesting to see because right now Chelsea's kind of on the downfall. They're talking about Conte's job, talking about if they're going to get rid of him or they're going to keep him. Really just hasn't been making the best decisions, so it's going to be interesting to see how Barcelona or how Chelsea deal with Barcelona. Pretty much Barcelona holding the ball up and pretty much attacking the entire time. Then you're going to have, let's see, next Wednesday, Sevilla versus Manchester United, and then Shakhtar versus Roma. Not the most intriguing games there. All right, I mean, Manchester United is a bit of a weird team right now, okay? You got Paul Pogba, you got Lukaku and all those other guys, but it just hasn't really, they haven't really put it together. All right, Manchester United hasn't really been what the old Manchester United was when they got rid of, or when Sir Alex Ferguson retired. All right, they should be a whole lot better than what they are, right? And they just, like I said, just haven't been able to put it together at all. I mean, they're not even the best team in Manchester, and that's something in soccer you really try to pride yourself on. If you play in Manchester, you try to be better than City, or if you're City, you try to be better than United. Right now, City are way better than United, all right? And, I mean, as far as Manchester United's chances of winning the Champions League, they got a really good defense, but I don't think they score enough, all right? Let me see. Let's look at their last game. Yeah, the last game in the Premier League against Newcastle, they lost 1-0, right? They started Lukaku, started Alexis Sanchez, Lingard, Martial, Matic, Pogba, Ashley Young at the left back. I don't know why they still do that. Phil Jones, Chris Smalling, and Antonio Valencia. All right, on the bench, they left off Mata. They left Luke Shaw, Rojo. So, I mean, they really don't have... They do have a lot of players hurt, too, I think. Let me see. Who they had Bailly's hurt, Ibrahimovic is hurt, Blind's hurt, Fellaini's hurt, and Rashford was hurt. So you got a lot of players out, but nonetheless, I mean, you got Paul Pogba out there, you got Sanchez out there, you got Lukaku. Those guys should be playing a whole lot better than what they have been. They just, like I said, just haven't put it together. But nonetheless, I think they're going to get past Sevilla in this little knockout stage, so it'll work out well for them. But if I had to put my money on it right now, I'd say it'll be probably Barcelona versus Manchester City. Maybe, hopefully, Tottenham surprises some people. They get past Juventus. And, I mean, Real Madrid, of course, has all the chance in the world. You never know. Maybe PSG pulls off a comeback next time they play in the second leg versus Madrid. So that's all I got to say about that. Next up, we're going to wrap up the show. We're going to be talking about pretty much anything else going on in the world of sports. Going to make my picks for tonight's games in the NBA. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red-hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's gsmcpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
Alright, and welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. So far in today's show, we've talked about the NBA games from yesterday. What else we talked about? We talked about the 12 teams who haven't won a Super Bowl, and we talked Champions League in the third segment. Alright, believe it or not, we did get some soccer in today. Alright, for this segment, as we always do, we're going to talk about anything going on in the world of sports, anything that rolls through my mind. So let's talk. Talked about Johnny Manziel yesterday on yesterday's podcast, and talked about his possible comeback, and turns out he is coming back, but to the Elite Developmental League in the spring. All right, they start their games in March, I believe it is. He's going to be there. I think that's where you get to play in front of NFL scouts and all that, and they'll be watching you. So, I mean, I like it for Johnny Manziel, all right, because if there's NFL scouts out there and he plays well, I mean, someone's going to take a chance on him, all right? Not sure who it is, but there's going to be someone that sees pretty much what he's said so far. He's going to get a. Let me put it this way: if Johnny Manziel plays well, he's going to get a training camp invite. All right, I think that much. All he's got to do is play well. Because if he thought that his chances of getting to the NFL were pretty low and just wasn't going to happen at all, and yeah, they are pretty low actually right now. All right, so let's say if his chances of getting to the NFL were 0, then I think that he would just end up in the CFL. But if he's over here playing in the developmental league for the spring or this developmental spring league or whatever in front of scouts, then I think Johnny Boy has a good chance here. All right, I think Manziel has a good chance of making it back into the league. So, I mean, I hope it works out for him. Like I said, I talked a lot about him yesterday, so, I mean, not really much to say anymore, but he will be playing football in March. All right. So, we'll see how it all ends up for him. But like I said, if he plays well, then I think he'll be in someone's team come training camp. All right. So, let's talk a little bit about baseball. All right. Baseball starting up. Pitches and catches are reporting. And there's really been, no hype surrounding the MLB this year. All right, they had the big Stanton trade to the Yankees that generated some hype right there. All right, but after that, I mean, it's pretty much been like a little dead period here. All right, no one's really been talking about baseball at all. I mean, I'm not even really too excited about the season. Maybe it's just because I'm still into the NBA and all that. But nonetheless, I mean, baseball has just been something that's taken a back seat. I feel like it's been continuing to take a back seat the last few years. All right, because if you tell me right now that baseball is more popular sport than basketball or football, then I'll laugh. Okay, right now, as far as publicity and all that, NBA is taking over. So right now, I think it goes to NFL, the NBA, MLB, and then hockey after that, as far as the 4 major sports go. But I mean, just getting back to it, I mean, it's just there hasn't been any big free agent signings. It's been pretty quiet on that front, and I mean, it's just I don't know. It's just baseball. Baseball's not dying or anything like that. Baseball will never die, but I mean, it's just there's no excitement around it. All right, there's no. I don't know. It's just kind of weird. And I can't be the only one who thinks this because, I mean, you got writers, the baseball writers out there pretty much just, there's nothing to do for them. There's no news happening, all right? Darvish got signed to a 6-year, $150 million deal to the Cubs, but, I mean, other than that, there's just nothing's happened. There's no publicity, no nothing, all right? It's just, now teams are starting to come back to spring training, all right? Like I said, pitchers and catchers are reporting, so maybe the NFL or the MLB is just, I don't know. Maybe it's just starting to lose it a little bit, all right? Because I know the older generation is what keeps the MLB pretty much near the top as far as ratings and all that. But people I'll still watch baseball games and stuff like that. I'll watch the Red Sox play and all that when they play the Yankees. But I'm not gonna go sit there watch every game. That's 162 games. No way I'm watching every single one of those. I mean, yeah, I'll tune into it if it's on Sunday Night Baseball or whatever on ESPN and all that. But other than that, I mean, I don't know. Maybe the season is just too long. And maybe they need to shorten it a little bit, but nonetheless, there's just no publicity, anything, no excitement, anything about the MLB season coming up. All right, you got teams like the Giants who traded for a bunch of players, got Evan Longoria, McCutchen, and I mean, that might have been pretty good trades in 2012, 2011, but nonetheless, I mean, I'm not really sure how much that's going to help the Giants. You got the Red Sox and the whole JD Martinez thing. Is he going to be signing with them, or is he just going to hold out and hope that someone offers him more money, which I don't think so. I mean, I think now one of the better things about baseball is that teams are starting to get smarter, and they're not giving away these 7-year, $200 and some million contracts or anything like that. All right, you're not getting Giancarlo Stanton contracts or anything. All right, maybe Bryce Harper next year gets a contract like that, but nonetheless, I mean, teams are getting smarter. JD Martinez, I think, was thinking he was going to get more around $200 million at the beginning of free agency and all that winter meetings, and I mean, it just hasn't happened. It's looking like the Red Sox offered him 5 years, $100 million or $125 million. I think no one's even offering him anything close to that. So, I mean, he's probably going to end up in Boston, but it's a little standout because he got Scott Boras as his agent. I know Scott Boras is trying to get him as much money as he can, so we'll see what happens there. But other than that, just really nothing has happened. There's no excitement, nothing. So, that's all I got to say about that. All right, and a little thing that caught my eye, Ray Allen had a nice little Instagram post about Paul Pierce, his little jersey retirement and all that, said that he wasn't there because of the fact, well, Doc Rivers said that Ray Allen told him that he didn't come because he didn't want just pretty much to take away from Paul Pierce's day. And you know what? I believe it. It would have took away from Paul Pierce's day because you would have probably had fans maybe possibly booing him, Ray Allen, or it would have been a story on ESPN talking about how he was there. So, I mean, I understand why Ray Allen was there. And I kind of think that the Boston hates Ray Allen thing, it's gotten old, all right? Ray Allen was a huge part of that 2008 team. He's a huge part of that team when they were in the playoffs year after year, okay? I've seen people say, oh, Ray Allen should have left, whatever. Like, the Celtics don't win a championship without Ray Allen, just like they don't win a championship without KG or Paul Pierce, all right? I think that Celtics fans need to get over it already. Yeah, he went to Miami, oh well, but nonetheless, just get over it, okay? Let's not forget that the Celtics were trying to trade Ray Allen up towards the end of his career in Boston. No one really brings that up so that way they could start Avery Bradley. I mean, it's just the way it goes. As far as Ray Allen being hated in Boston, it's gotten old, and I mean, like I said, they wouldn't have done anything without him. So I think it's time to forgive Ray Allen and get over it. But nonetheless, I mean, that's really all I got to say about that. All right, so now let's make my picks for the NBA games going on tonight, which is Wednesday. All right, we got the Atlanta Hawks facing off with the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons have lost 3 in a row, really haven't been playing well the last 3 games. But I think they're going to be able to snap that streak against the Hawks, all right? The Pistons are playing at home, favored by 10, as they should be. So I'm going to go with the Pistons in this one. The Hawks are really just a bad team, terrible road team, 5-23 on the road. So I think Blake Griffin and co are going to play a whole lot better than what they had the last 3 games. And then you got the Charlotte Hornets facing off with the Orlando Magic. I mean, both bad teams. You got Kemba Walker going up against a guy like Evan Fournier. Aaron Gordon's been hurt for a while. Probably won't be back till after the All-Star break, I'm just guessing. Let's see. The Hornets are currently 8-18 on the road. Magic are currently 11-15 at home. I'm going to go with the Hornets in this one, all right? They're favored by 6, and they got the best player on the court. So I'm going to go with Kemba Walker and the Hornets. I think they're going to be able to pull out the win here. Then we got the Miami Heat on a back-to-back. Yesterday played the Raptors. Today they're playing the Philadelphia 76ers. Let's see. Sixers are 17-10 at home. The Heat are 16-15 on the road. Sixers been playing good basketball. Let's see. Did the Sixers play yesterday? I don't think they did. They played a couple days ago. So that means Embiid will be playing in this one. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia 76ers, all right? The Heat kind of been on a bit of a slide. Just really haven't been playing good basketball as of late. So I'm going to go with the Sixers in this one. Then we got the Indiana Pacers facing off with the Brooklyn Nets in Brooklyn. And this is a bit of an easy pick from me right here. All right? Victor Oladipo, most improved player, maybe comeback player. No, you don't think you can consider him comeback player there. Do they still do most improved? I'm not sure. But nonetheless, Victor Oladipo has been on fire so far this year. I think the Pacers are currently 6th best team in the East right now. A couple games back of the Wizards, if not just a little less than that. So I'm going to go with the Pacers beating the Nets in this one. The Pacers are favored by 4. Nets are going to put up a bit of a fight, but I just don't think they're going to have enough to beat the Pacers. All right. Then we got the Wizards facing off with the Knicks. The Wizards have been playing good basketball since John Wall went out. Him and Martin Gortat had a little bit of a beef. They talked that out, pretty much cleared the air, so there's no problems there anymore. At least that's what they're going to tell us. So in this game, I mean, that has no effect on it really because John Wall's been out, but I'm gonna go with the Wizards in this one just because the Knicks just have been a dumpster fire since Porzingis left. Michael Beasley's been playing well, but I mean you can't really count on Michael Beasley to do too much for you. All right, and we got the Los Angeles Clippers facing off with the Boston Celtics in Boston. The Celtics have been a team that's been kind of worrying me lately, all right? Started off 16-2. Since then, they've been 24-16. Really haven't been playing well on offense. Defense is still doing all right. I mean, they did, give up 121 to the Cavs the other day, so, I mean, that's a bit of a downfall right there. I'm not sure. I kind of want to go with the Celtics in this. Yeah, you know what? I am going to go with the Celtics in this one. All right? I forgot the Clippers don't have Blake Griffin or any of those guys anymore. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Celtics. But it's going to be a close one. It's going to be an ugly one. The Celtics really need to figure out these little offensive woes they got, and they really need Marcus Smart back because I think he would have helped against Cleveland. I'm not sure if they would have beat him because Cleveland's been playing well, but nonetheless, he would have helped, and they probably wouldn't have scored 122 or 121, whatever it was. Then you got the Toronto Raptors facing off with the Chicago Bulls. Chicago Bulls have been playing good basketball. They competed against good teams, but that's all they're going to do in this one, just compete. Raptors are going to win this one easily, all right? Then we got the Sacramento Kings coming off of a win against the Dallas Mavericks, heading to Houston, facing off with the Rockets. Houston is favored by 14.5. I don't think they're going to cover, but head-to-head, I think the Rockets are going to win. Kings have been playing all right the last couple of games. I haven't been winning all of them, but have been, like I said, just competing and playing well. De'Aaron Fox has been playing well, so I'm going to go with the Rockets still, all right? James Harden's probably going to drop 40 in this one. Then we got the Oklahoma City Thunder facing off with the Grizzlies. Thunder lost yesterday to the Cavs. Today they're playing against the Grizzlies, like I said. The Grizzlies are 13-16 at home. The Thunder are 12-16 on the road, but Simply put, the Grizzlies are just a bad team, all right? Melo and Westbrook are back, so Thunder are going to win this one easily, I feel. Then you got the LA Lakers facing off with the New Orleans Pelicans. Lonzo Ball probably won't be back till after the All-Star break. I'm going to go with the Pelicans in this one, all right? Pelicans kind of been playing well the last couple of games. Ooh, I don't know. I forgot Isaiah Thomas is there. All right, scored 22 points and had 6 assists in his first game with the Lakers. So, I don't know. Does Isaiah Thomas make a difference in this one? Maybe. I'm going to go with the Lakers in this one, actually, all right? I like the way they played against Dallas, even though they lost on Saturday, all right? Yeah, I'm going to go with the Lakers in this one. I think they're going to be able to pull it out. Then we got the Suns facing off with the Utah Jazz. Jazz been playing well. Jay Crowder's been playing well since he got there. I'm going to go with the Jazz in this one. The Suns are probably the worst team in the league right now, losing by 40 all the time, letting the Warriors players coach against them. So yeah, I'm going to go with the Jazz. Then we got the Warriors facing off with the Portland Trail Blazers. I'm very excited for this game, not because of the teams playing, but because we're going to have Bill Walton calling this game. All right, Bill Walton usually calls the Pac-12 games on ESPN, so it's going to be interesting to see what Bill Walton has to say during this Warriors and Trail Blazers game. I'm going to go with the Warriors in this one. Pretty much best team in the league. No reason to pick against them, so I got the Warriors. All right, so to recap my picks, I got the Pistons beating the Hawks, the Hornets beating the Magic, the Sixers beating the Heat, the Pacers beating the Nets, Wizards beating the Knicks, Celtics beating the Clippers, Raptors beating the Bulls, Rockets beating the Kings, Thunder beating the Grizzlies, Lakers beating the Pelicans, Jazz beating the Suns, and the Warriors beating the Trailblazers. Only one upset to pick today, and that's the Lakers over the Pelicans. So we'll see how all these games play out. A little note, Raiders cut Sebastian Janikowski, end of an era there, all right? One of Al Davis's best draft picks. I mean, during Janikowski's time, the Raiders have been pretty bad except for the last couple of years. But looks like it's the Giorgio Terravecchio era now in Oakland. I guess Oakland for a year until they go to Vegas. So, yeah, I just wanted to point that out there. So that's going to wrap up today's show. Today we talked about the NBA games from last night, recapped those, talked about the 12 teams who haven't won a Super Bowl, talked some Champions League, and then for this segment, talked about where Johnny Manziel is going to be playing in March, talked about the Celtics a bit, the 08 Celtics team. What else did we talk about? We talked about Shaun White won the gold medal yesterday, and the U.S. hockey team lost to, I think, who did they lose to? Let me see if I can double check that before we go. Let me see if I have it on the notifications here. They lost to Slovakia, I think it was. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see. I got the notification earlier too. Let's see. All right, so they lost to Slovenia 3-2. They gave up a two-goal lead. All right. Not really something you want to see. You want to see pretty much the prospects of the U.S. playing well. But, I mean, I'm glad hockey's finally going on in the Olympics. Finally gonna probably tune into it a whole lot more. But like I said, Shaun White won a gold medal yesterday in snowboarding, and then the U.S. hockey team lost to Slovenia 3-2 today. All right, so like I said, thanks for listening to the GSMC Sports Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Jesse Tapia. We'll be back tomorrow, so stay tuned, and we'll talk to you later.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.